Good afternoon, St. Lucia, and welcome to another edition of Hard Talk here on Fire 107.7 FM. I am your host, Angie, and of course, today is the fifth day in the month of March 2026. And guys, let me tell you, it is hot, hot, hot. And I am not speaking about the weather. Of course, today we are, oh my goodness, guys, today I don't even know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to bring this news that I have to your attention, because this is just, it's a doozy, guys. It's a doozy. But it's a doozy that we knew was coming. Yep, I said it. We knew it was coming. All of the alarm bells, all of the warnings, every single time persons were told, look out, straighten up and fly right. All of it, every single instance was disregarded. Every appeal for caution was met with bravado. Nobody took any of it seriously. And now the chickens have come home to roost. And not one of these chickens have provided us with good eggs. No. For lack of a better word, we've been inundated with zé couvé. That's what I'm going to call it. I have no choice but to call it that. The truth is the truth. What do we do? Where do we go from here? How do we fix it? Well, this isn't the topic that I am supposed to talk about, because I can safely say I am not a prime minister or a foreign minister. But I do have the facts, and I shall bring them to you, because, of course, this is Hard Talk. This is the medium where you are provided with content that follow the values of accountability, transparency, truth, and integrity. And boy, do I have a dose of truth and a wake-up call. I hope it's a wake-up call for all of our St. Lucian citizens, both here and abroad. Now, people are jumping on the live. And guys, I need to, oh my goodness. I am going to bring it to you straight from the horse's mouth. Like I said, truth. So, there was a press conference held in the UK earlier today. Earlier today. And in this press conference, several announcements were made. But the one that concerns us the most happens to talk about our immigration status. Now, let me give you a little bit of background because I don't want you to be lost when you listen to this, because this is a doozy. This is a doozy. You see, once upon a time, back in 2021 thereabouts, a leader, a forward thinker, a visionary, brought to our attention that there was a problem with the way our citizenship by investment program was run. This gentleman, at the risk of being called an enemy of the state, sounded the alarm that we needed to straighten up and fly right. We needed to put measures in place that did not compromise the national security and sovereignty of our international allies. This modern day Noah, so to speak, was laughed out of the room. He was laughed at. He was mocked. He was called an enemy of the state. He was told that he was jealous and envious of all the toys of all the other little boys. And nobody took him seriously. He said, "Look out. Change this program. Fix it before it's too late." And everybody said, "Don't listen to him. He is a hater. Don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he is talking about. Look at him. He wants our toys. That's why he's saying they're not safe. The only reason why he doesn't want us rolling down the hill on our bicycles with no brakes is because he doesn't have a bicycle himself. We're having fun. Aren't you having fun?" And they kicked off and went down the hill regardless of the fact that the precipice had no guardrails. And they went, "Whee!" And everyone jumped on the bandwagon. And then the principal. No, not the principal. That doesn't meet with the analogy. The police showed up. We heard the sirens. Woo! 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 And guess what those sirens are saying? Now, I'm not going to give you any more analogies. I'm going to let you hear it for yourself. I'm going to take you all the way to the UK to listen to Secretary of State, I think, I'm sorry, Secretary of State is an American term. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, as she delivers a speech on immigration. Keep your ears peeled.
Whom are being removed from this country at a rate far higher than the one that we inherited. The Labour Party has always been internationalist, but while we speak softly, we are not fearful of carrying a big stick. Since I became Home Secretary, I've shown my willingness to do so. I threatened visa sanctions on 3 countries who are refusing to take their citizens back, all of whom, I'm happy to say, are now playing by the international rules. Today, I can announce that I'm suspending certain visa routes for a further 4 countries: Afghanistan, Cameroon, Myanmar and Sudan, where abuse has been unacceptably high. I will also impose visit visas on Nicaragua and St. Lucia, as their visa-free entry has created a backdoor into this country.
The visa-free entry of St. Lucian citizens has created a back door into the United Kingdom. Now, I know they're gonna play this tape. They posted it on their page. Of the ambassador saying that this was due to a high incidence of asylum seekers. But that is not the case, because you heard it from the Home Secretary herself. The visa-free entry for St. Lucia and Nicaragua has created a back door into this country, meaning Britain. I went to the Office of the Prime Minister's Facebook page. I saw a video from the British ambassador saying, oh, we have a high incidence of asylum seekers. That may be true. That may be true. But that is not the reason why visa restrictions were placed on St. Lucia. The Home Secretary said it herself. Their visa-free entry has created a backdoor. Now, I'm thinking, how is it that the visa-free entry, because guys, I don't know if you recall, but Britain, the United Kingdom, is our mother country, n'est-ce pas? And St. Lucia now has to seek permission to go home to mama? Ain't that a kick in the gut? Let me play that again. Somebody's saying play it again. I'm going to play it again because I want you all to understand. I want you to understand what is going on, because I went to their page. I went to hear what they said. And I heard the video which said that St. Lucians need a visa because of a high incidence of asylum seekers. So I went to the press conference because I like to give you the facts. I like to give you the facts straight from the source. So, somebody's asking, how is it that St. Lucia is situated within the same classification as Nicaragua? Honey, I don't know what's going on in Nicaragua. I have never been there, but I am here. And I know that this information that I just gave you is coming from the UK Home Secretary. And I will play it again so you can hear it in her own voice, because as she said, they're not afraid to carry a big stick. Listen and listen well.
Whom are being removed from this country at a rate far higher than the one that we inherited. The Labour Party has always been internationalist, but while we speak softly, we are not fearful of carrying a big stick. Since I became Home Secretary, I've shown my willingness to do so. I threatened visa sanctions on 3 countries who are refusing to take their citizens back, all of whom, I'm happy to say, are now playing by the international rules. Today, I can announce that I'm suspending certain visa routes for a further 4 countries: Afghanistan, Cameroon, Myanmar and Sudan, where abuse has been unacceptably high. I will also impose visit visas on Nicaragua and St. Lucia, as their visa-free entry has created a backdoor into this country.
Did you hear her talk about asylum seekers? Because I didn't. Did you hear her say that the reason why she was placing these restrictions on St. Lucia was because there was a high incidence of asylum seekers? Because I did not. What she said was she placed visa restrictions on countries who did not want to take their citizens back, and now they are playing by the rules. She also said she is placing visa restrictions on 4 countries, she named them, and said it was because their abuses were unacceptable. And then she said, and I quote, I am also imposing visitor visas on Nicaragua and St. Lucia because their visa-free entry has created a backdoor into this country, end quote. Not a high incidence of asylum seekers. Now, does the UK have a high incidence of asylum seekers? Yes, they do. And she put measures in place to deal with that as well. But it was not visa restrictions. It was not visa impositions or visa requirements. No. The asylum seekers are being given an initial period of 2 years. Then, after 2 years, their asylum status will be revisited. And if at that time it is found that their countries are safe, they will be required to go back home. But for St. Lucia, our visa-free access has created a back door into the United Kingdom. So, how did St. Lucia's visa-free access create a back door into the United Kingdom? Anyone wants to chance a guess? Starts with C and ends with P. And why are St. Lucians heading to the UK and seeking asylum in droves? Well, I can guess. Starts with an S and ends with a P. We were warned. We were told several times. We were told several times that this CIP was not following the right regulations. The alarm was sounded. This needs to be tightened up. Reforms need to be made in the legislation. All of the safeguards that had been placed by the previous UWP administration were stripped away by the current SLP. And they were warned over and over and over again. Do something before it is too late. Fix this before we have a problem on our hands. But no. Everyone who pointed out what was going wrong was called an enemy of the state. Everyone who said, guys, come on, do something, was laughed at. They were treated like Noah while he was building the ark. Check that man real stupid. Sun blazing hot, that man building that big boat. And they were laughing. They were laughing. Well, moi hope dan yo te ka wiye pi ya ka fe yo mal actuellement. Because every time they were warned, don't do this, fix this, do something, they scoffed. People here on the live are chiming in. Let's hear what they have to say. Somebody is saying here, somebody says here, we cannot forget the back door and not only asylum. Somebody says, no, that's not the case. St. Lucians are always seeking for asylum in the UK for a long time. And that is true. England is our mother country. St. Lucians have been seeking asylum in England for a very long time. But rules were made for asylum. Somebody says, since when did St. Lucians apply for asylum in droves in the UK? It's the I in CIP. Another says, all of what is going on and what is to come is the sound of the SLP bell. E ring E. Red is the mood. Red is danger. And there is always pain when one is in labor. E ring E. Praise God, I am not deaf nor death. Wow. Well, if that's the sound of the labor bell, then that labor bell is pealing. Somebody says, ask the mystery man. Well, I want to be a fly on that wall because according to their missive, their press release, that they issued, they got the letter yesterday. The press conference was held. So they were only notified one day in advance. And then the Home Secretary came on and blew them out of the water. Wow. Somebody says CIP, another says E-ring E. Somebody saying St. Lucians did not listen. St. Lucians did not follow the yellow brick road. And now the red dragon is swallowing all St. Lucians. Somebody says, I wonder whether Champagne will be having Martinez on his program anytime soon. Another is saying, why is this not happening to Barbados or Trinidad? Another says, the mood is red. And somebody reminds us, they all called Shas enemy of the state. But my question to the Prime Minister, to the Minister of External Affairs, to everyone is this. What happens now? Where do we go from here? What is the plan? Because I read this press statement, press release on the Office of the Prime Minister Facebook page, and I want to share it with you because the misinformation, you remember the Prime Minister said that misinformation keeps him up at night? Well, I guess the Prime Minister believes that St. Lucians are fools. Or, more succinctly, I think the Prime Minister believes that St. Lucians don't understand how to use the internet. So let me read from this press release because I guess he thought we could not get the information from the Home Secretary. Listen to this, guys. I'm going to put my glasses on because I really want to read this properly. Let me y'all know I don't like my glasses, but today I'm making an exception. This is equivalent. You guys have no idea how damaging this is. Let me tell you why. This is our home country. Our home country. Look at our money. The Queen's picture is still there. The Queen has passed on, but her son, King Charles, he is still the head of state of St. Lucia, the head of the country, our home. This is the equivalent to your father saying to you, you need permission to come to my home. You need a letter to come to my home. You're not welcome here anymore. This is the equivalent of that. Let me read this to you. This is a press release from the Government of St. Lucia, Ministry of External Affairs, International Trade, Civil Aviation and Diaspora Affairs. It says, for immediate release March 5th, 2026. The government of St. Lucia responds to United Kingdom's decision to introduce visa requirements for St. Lucian nationals. The government of St. Lucia has formally received communication from the United Kingdom government advising that a visit visa requirement will be introduced for nationals of St. Lucia traveling to the UK, including a direct airside transit visa for travelers transiting through the UK to another destination. According to the correspondence from the UK Home Office, dated 4th March 2026, the decision was taken by the United Kingdom as part of its broader efforts to strengthen border management and respond to pressures within its immigration and asylum systems. The UK government indicated that there has been a notable increase in St. Lucia nationals entering the UK as visitors and subsequently claiming asylum, which it says has placed pressure on its border and asylum processes. The UK authorities have advised that the new visa requirements will be in place until, let me read that again. The new visa requirements will take effect on 5th March 2026 at 11 a.m. A 6-week transition period will be in place until 12 p.m. on 16th April 2026, during which St. Lucia nationals who already possess an electronic travel authorization ETA and have booked travel prior to the policy change may continue to enter the United States visa-free if they arrive before the end of the transition window. The government of St. Lucia acknowledges that this development will be of concern to many St. Lucians, including those who travel to the United Kingdom for family visits, business, education, and tourism. The government wishes to reassure citizens that active diplomatic engagement with the United Kingdom is ongoing and that St. Lucia will continue discussions with UK authorities to better understand the decision. Interesting. And to explore pathways for maintaining strong mobility arrangements between both countries. The government of St. Lucia will provide further guidance to the public on visa application procedures and travel requirements as additional information becomes available. They're only now looking to understand the decision. What she said there was quite straightforward. I don't see how they can misunderstand the decision. The decision is we need a visa. Or am I the one? Am I the one misunderstanding? So, again, did you hear the Home Secretary mention asylum seekers? No. She said our visa-free entry has created a backdoor into the country. Now, the Prime Minister is simply, or the office of the Prime Minister, whoever wrote that press release, again, semantics, half-truth. Who are these asylum seekers? Were they the 5,000 people who suddenly appeared on the voter registration list the day before elections and then disappeared right after? Are those the asylum seekers that we are talking about? Inquiring minds would like to know. The United Kingdom comprises of England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. It's a huge country. Our 185,000 people could fit in the UK 30 times over. Why would St. Lucians be causing so much havoc in the UK? Again, it's our home country. It's our mother country. So the old adage, Tete papli forpe Lester Mac, is certainly not true for our home country. I know I make it seem way simpler than it actually is, but I want you guys to understand. Is it that the problem emanates or stems from the 185,000 born St. Lucians? Because we have quite a number of St. Lucians in the United States. Quite a number of St. Lucians in the United States who are seeking asylum. So it couldn't be that all 185,000 born St. Lucians are causing a problem in the UK seeking asylum. I wager maybe 10,000. That's just my bet. And then we have St. Lucians in France, in Europe, in Germany, in Switzerland. Everywhere St. Lucians can go. Oh, not to mention the vast St. Lucian diaspora we have in Canada. Why isn't Canada saying that all St. Lucians need to go back home? Or is it? And just hear me out here, guys. Is the real problem stemming from the over 14,000 citizenship by investment passports that have been sold between 2021 and 2026 that we know of? Because you guys may not know this. And when I'm done here, you could go check it out. Are you aware that every St. Lucian born before 1979 is eligible for British citizenship? Are you aware that every St. Lucian born before January 1st, 1983 is eligible for British Overseas Territories citizenship? And we don't even have to leave St. Lucia to do it, guys. You apply online. The process takes 6 months. And only those applying for British citizenship need to pay a £130 fee for a swearing in ceremony. So why would St. Lucians seeking asylum in their mother country, where thousands of them, tens of thousands of them, are eligible for citizenship, cause a problem? Educate yourselves, St. Lucians. And if you don't believe me, we have a British High Commission right here in St. Lucia. It takes 6 months. Check it out. Check it out. No, guys. Because these requirements, you see, in order for you to qualify for these requirements, your mother needs to be a St. Lucian, and so does your daddy. Well, not necessarily, but your mother needs to be a St. Lucian. But those CIP citizens, who are their mothers again? Do we know? Do we know who their mothers and fathers are? We don't, do we? So no, it does not make sense that St. Lucians, whose head of state is the King of England, seeking asylum in their mother country, is the cause for this new development. The cause for this is exactly what the Home Secretary said. Our visa-free entry into the United Kingdom has created a back door where citizens from other country, third country nationals, are using to enter the UK and seek asylum. Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth as it is, not the truth as you want us to believe it. This does not make sense. It does not make sense. Because we St. Lucians, all of us who were born before January 1st, 1983, we can go online. We can apply for British citizenship, British overseas territory citizenship, or if we were born before independence, British citizenship outright. Pay £130 for a swearing-in ceremony and become full-fledged British citizens. And we can travel to and from the UK with no compunctions, no problems, no restrictions. But all in a sudden, British St. Lucians are seeking asylum in the UK to the extent that we are causing a problem. Make it make sense. Somebody here is saying, Alva, speak up. Do you think he will? I doubt he will. Another says, now they want to hear Alan's views on what's going on in the Middle East and the bombing that went on with our fishermen. 16-1. Oh, we have a caller. We have a caller from a British overseas territory. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Bermuda.
Yes, that's right.
Say that again.
Good afternoon to you guys.
How are you today?
Okay. Do you realize that since taking office, since SFP Bok, the communist SFP Bok who's going to office every week is something wrong with them? Another country? Every week?
I heard one of my
Do you realize that?
I heard one of my colleagues say to the Prime Minister, do you realize that ever since you came into office there's been non-stop war?
Non-stop war, non-stop. I can write an article. One thing is to write 2 or 3 articles on a Sunday. One thing. Nobody make it wrong. They write one article on a Sunday alone. Because I waste my time, man. Because solutions don't give a damn. But every week, when the great man Solomon Kashasti was there, you didn't even know he was there.
Yep.
And the first world countries were coming there. What are you doing? Show us what you're doing. Tell us what you're doing. He was showing them the way. You never asked the great man of world in any country.
Not that I know.
Canada showing solutions, they have a garbage government. England is showing them, they have a garbage government. America is showing them, they have a garbage government. And I've been telling them years now that they don't even want them. The only person that sees something in solutions in that bogus gang is solutions. I never see such. Every day is a row. Every day is a row. So if I don't listen to me, well, these guys is something else. These guys are something else. They're horrible. They're terrible. You say caca. What are you going to use, man? Are you going there? You go there? They're lying bold-faced. They're lying even though they know that you all know they're lying. Even though you all know they're lying to you all because they know you all don't talk about you all don't do nothing. Could you believe it? What you just read there? About the British government. About 20 people said that to me this morning. 20 different people said that to me this morning. The guys just lying. They're all of them just lying. And you'll go them and you'll give them 2/3 majority. My goodness, you only got the shame? You only got the damn shame, man?
Well, I didn't give them any majority.
If the foreign countries want to do your work for y'all, going to tell y'all those guys are garbage, and the garbage, and the not them don't even want them. We have a case there. None of those guys could sit down, as I said before, with Secretary of State Romeo, with Vice President, what's it again, Vance, and Donald Trump. None of them. You got 16-1. 16-1, and none of them. You can put all of them together. They cannot make one to sit down with those guys or the British or the Stammer. Oh, and I have a word with them. I bring home the bacon. None of them. That tells you alone you can say caca. Solutions, they're no good. They are not no good. They are no good. You cannot do nothing with them. You cannot do, their best is the worst.
Yep.
Their best is the worst. I only call to these guys only show it. People say, who these guys are prime ministers? These guys are ministers? These guys are ministers? And they don't talk about a whoosh? You're going to make Donald Trump come and drop a bomb on the parliament? Well, he might just do that.
God
He might just do
forbid.
that.
Doctor,
And I don't blame him.
God forbid
I don't
he
blame
does that, Mr. Bermuda. We don't need that kind of smoke. Trust me. We
don't
don't need that kind of smoke.
If you all don't want to bring communism, Trump is wiping out the communist countries one by one, and they want to head there. Russia doesn't want China in America. China doesn't want China in America. England doesn't want China in America. And this said, don't have a helicopter. Want to take in America? Really? Really? I can't walk around talking about, the moon is red? Really?
Well,
They want to see some country like a black bastard solution or something? That's what they want to see?
let's hope it does
I
not get that
I
far.
don't, you're following the wrong man. Let me tell you something. And you're listening to people like Rick Wayne every day. Telling you all these guys are good, they're good, but the hardest time in solution history, PIB ruling in the hardest time in solution history. came into governance. When Kenny Anthony bankrupt the country, bankrupt the country. Nobody will lend you no money. God things on power. God things on power. Then COVID came. He can give him a cuff on his belly. He got to pay. He got to look for over $100,000 per month to pay civil servants. He made it. But we're going to come talking a lot of nonsense talking about pay hard. What hard what? The great man saw him like this last day, laid his table down for him, made up the bed for him. All he had to do is to sleep in it. What he done? What's he done? The hospital, the great man built, only needed about another $60 million or so.
He said 50 million US.
Okay, let's
No, sorry. You said the new hospital. I thought you meant the old one. Sorry, I'm confused. Sorry.
Oh, I don't go old things. I don't invest in old things. 100-year-old business, huh? And the man gonna spend $500 million on an old hospital, and you're down there saying the word, it goody.
No, well,
Then you got a terminal down there that was second to none.
I didn't say that.
Okay. And then your man built a terminal, second to none, in the Caribbean, or probably in the world. You don't know about that. Got to give you all something with bucket, put bucket on that floor, catch that water there. No, you can't get water. No, you can't get the water. Come on, Wasco. All that is a plan of socialism. All that is a plan of communism. That water system, that is just happening. The great man Sir like a Shafte was solving that problem. People that wasn't getting water were getting water when he was there. I never heard people complain that kind of way. Because the great man was making water available for you all.
Yep.
But as the man said, you want to get you all go back to using pit toilets and batteries.
Well,
that's what communism is about.
I don't think I can do that.
And that's you, Aji. You might be on, you might go on a toilet up in the air. That's you. But how many people can do that?
True.
Okay? I was speaking for the masses. I was speaking for the masses, so to speak. But although I shouldn't be doing that. You go that stupid government down there, you don't understand that's just we are. Nothing, none of them are good. None of them.
Yeah.
They're garbage.
So
they are garbage, every one of them.
It's a sorry, sad state of affairs.
I don't want to talk about the person doing goody. You know, stupid or something. I'm embarrassed to be a solution, man. Embarrassed.
Wow.
Not because the country is poor, but because the leaders are we pick. The guys we pick to govern the country. You think I can bring a solution? But you don't know the solution? When they come back up, they will laugh at me. The guys just too much, you're talking too much talk, and give those guys action. I've been saying so for years. These guys, don't give those guys too much talk. These guys know all they're going to do is talk on the radio and blah, blah, blah. Don't mind them. All they talk on the radio, they ain't do nothing. They ain't do nothing. And I'll tell you one thing. Auntie,
yep.
I gotta send you the BIU, the Bermuda Industrial Union number, and I want you to call there and speak to anybody in that office. Anybody in that office. Because the nonsense are going on. Auntie, both parties run a government, or auto government. They work on news. You have to be careful what to say. Be careful what to do. That man lying to y'all every day. Lying to y'all. A man will make a mistake. Yeah, because we are human.
Of course.
We make a mistake.
We can understand.
This man don't make no mistake. This man don't make no mistake. I gotta tell them that. They gotta take it, man. And tomorrow they'll forget about that. Really? That government down there is what they call, you know what the government is down there? Riot bait. That's what they are. Riot bait. Riot bait. That's what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, Y'all listen to the Home Secretary speaking in England. What hear what she's saying? Y'all guys, y'all understand? Y'all better school. Y'all understand what they're saying. And what fact me can understand what they're saying. And I'm not going to tell y'all something different. Like just no respect for y'all, disrespect y'all intelligence.
Yep.
All that he does. All that, no, he only the whole mongoose guy. And that's the way he's going to report, y'all giving them 2/3 majority. Y'all ashamed? Y'all ashamed of yourselves? Y'all are disgusting.
Okay, Mr.
Y'all are
Bermuda.
atrocious.
I
Y'all are horrible.
I think you need to calm down. This is...
No, man.
I understand.
Let me tell you something. I got stuff coming from him. Like what they calling names for you, Mr. Brace. This stuff goes all over the world, Angie. Not only in St. Lucia.
It does.
This stuff goes all over the world.
It does.
Listen, I can tell you this alone. About 1 billion people, hear me? 1 billion people sees what's going on there.
Yeah.
1 billion and counting. Okay?
Yep.
Take that to the bank and you can cash it any bank you like. I tell you what I know.
Yeah.
I tell you what I hear. That's what I know. These guys say we have no good name at all. Nowhere in the world say we should have a good name. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. The good name that Alan Shaft have preserved for us. You got mashed up. Shaft ain't there. Shaft, good, Shaft, that. Hey, Shaft, liar. You ever the great Swallow Michael Shaft tell you a lie? You ever have Swallow Michael Shaft lie to anybody? You never lie to nobody. And you somebody white man, this white man. These guys are what you call slave drivers. These guys are. These guys. I don't know how to describe these guys. These guys cannot come on my lawn. They cannot come to my door. They cannot. They cannot come on my right property. No way. Go on the road, man. You come here. It's your bullshit. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day, Mr. Bermuda. Well, guys, let's hear from the people on the Facebook platform. Somebody says now they want to hear Alan's views on what's going on in the Middle East and the bombing that went on with our fishermen. 16-1. Thanks to the true supporters of his constituency, he is there. So leave him alone. He will come out to tell us the truth as he has done and is always doing because he wants good for the nation. Another person says, shaking my head. Somebody says, I am the I in visa caused by the CIP, the St. Lucia the St. Lucia Citizens by Investment Program. New spin ad has been amended. I am the I in visa. Okay. Another says, PJP was the first to talk about people who are burning their visas. I wonder if he knew what was coming from the UK. Another says, I don't see why St. Lucians are surprised by the UK restrictions. The bad thing is that the SLP government, including the CIP employees, caused it. PJP, Hilaire, among others, should be pointed out as they will deflect it to Shas. Mr. Martinez and Shaste have forewarned of the negative implications of changing the CIP banking regulations. There's more to come. I even heard of someone proposing that PJP should try to break St. Lucia from England's Commonwealth, which is nonsense. Somebody says, blessed afternoon to you, stay strong. Another says, you will never get the truth from these jokers. Somebody says, what if you were born in 1991? I need to leave. They're destroying our countries. Unfortunately for you, Mr. 1991, you need a visa. As of 11 o'clock this morning, you need a visa. Getting a missed call on the WhatsApp platform. Caller, call us back. Don't call us back. While we're waiting for that call, we are going to read through these messages. Another says, CIP. Thank you to CIP financing our STEP program. Gutter thinking. Now they need visas to travel to UK, Canada, and no visas for the USA. Somebody says, it's not all of a sudden. This current war in Iran will result in a lot of refugees from the Middle East. Those with CIP passports are probably in the process of trying to get out, that is, seeking UK asylum with their St. Lucian passports. Yes. Another said they lied to get in office, so they believe that they will continue to lie and give excuses to the people. Somebody else is saying, first the hacks were saying St. Lucians don't need to go to the USA. Now they will be saying they don't need to go to the UK. Wait for it. Another person says, but the SLP have to pay the debt they owe to the Nigerians for helping them win 2 elections. Wow. I didn't know that. Is this true? Another person says, these people with St. Lucian passports don't want to come to St. Lucia. They are using it to go to other countries. Some of them don't even know where St. Lucia is. Well, they might be finding out now, because that's where they're going to send them when they get deported. Because if I played only the part where the UK said, where they said they are sending deportees. Well, in fact, I didn't play that part. It came before that announcement with the visas. But the UK Home Secretary did say that they are sending deportees back, people who are refused asylum. They are sending them back to their countries. Another call. They're sending them back to their countries at an alarming rate, higher than any other rate, higher than any other time in UK history. As long as your application for asylum has been refused, they are sending you back to your home country. So, St. Lucians, these CIP individuals, citizens that have gotten St. Lucian passports and are attempting to use them to gain entry and asylum in other countries, you guys are going to meet them soon. Because as soon as their asylum in the UK is refused, they will be shipped back home to Fair Helen. Somebody else is saying, is Champagne still saying, can you believe it, asking for a friend? Somebody says, yes, they do. Another says, tell Bermuda he don't need to shout. Cool down, my brother. Mr. Bermuda, if you're still listening, cool down. Another person says, now people are dying in every community. Somebody says, okay, enough already. Mr. B shouting too much, and I think we got his point by now. Wow. Another says, okay, enough, cut. Somebody else says, they're already telling people don't use Wasco water to flush toilets. I see toilet pits in the future for St. Lucians. Somebody says, in response to telling Mr. Bermuda he doesn't have to shout, somebody says he feels the pain of bad governance. A real St. Lucian living in the diaspora. Somebody says, yes, as of today, that person needs a visa. Another person says, his shouting gives me a headache. Another person says, Angie, Martinique and Guadeloupe restrictions soon come. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to head right back into this discussion because, of course, we need to pay the bills. Otherwise, Fire FM will not be here.
You already know the power of Licks products on your clothes and household. You licked your whites and colored clothes, leaving them fresh and scented. You licked your dishes and left your hands protected with vitamin E. You licked your floors, even licked your toilet. Now we expand and bring you 3 new scents in our fabric softener: Balmy Sunshine, Summer Sunshine, and Thousand Flowers. And licks those stains off of colored clothes with Licks Color Safe Bleach. Licks went even further with Bondi Care body soap bars in deodorant and antibacterial. So Licks tiredness and bacteria out and refresh your tired body. Your product's giving you Licks? Then choose Licks from Today Distribution Inc. Available at all leading supermarkets.
We're back on Fire 107.7 FM, and this is Hard Talk. And today we are speaking about the current visa requirements that St. Lucians will need to visit the UK. Now, for those of you just joining the broadcast, you may not have heard the remarks from the British Home Secretary, and so I will replay these remarks so that there is absolutely no doubt in your mind the reason behind. Okay, we're getting a call. Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
Angie, listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just want people to know for the record.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to get a visa to go anywhere. I can go to England, Canada, anywhere before the visa. Okay?
Okay.
I'm calling for them. I don't need a visa to go to America. I don't need no visa. I don't need no visa. I'm making noise for them.
And we know that.
For them. So if people are talking about I get a headache, tell them. Piano give you a headache. The Mohus guy not give you a headache. The Mohus guy not give you a headache. I don't need a visa. I don't need a visa to go nowhere. I could go anywhere in Europe. I could go Canada. I could go America. I could go England. I could go anywhere without a visa. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bermuda. Don't mess with Bermuda. All right, so let's hear from the Home Secretary of the UK, because I want it to be clear in your minds why this is happening. So here is Miss Shabana Mahmood, Home Secretary of the United Kingdom.
Whom are being removed from this country at a rate far higher than the one that we inherited. The Labour Party has always been internationalist, but while we speak softly, we are not fearful of carrying a big stick. Since I became Home Secretary, I've shown my willingness to do so. I threatened visa sanctions on 3 countries who are refusing to take their citizens back, all of whom, I'm happy to say, are now playing by the international rules. Today, I can announce that I'm suspending certain visa routes for a further 4 countries: Afghanistan, Cameroon, Myanmar and Sudan, where abuse has been unacceptably high. I will also impose visit visas on Nicaragua and St. Lucia, as their visa-free entry has created a backdoor into this country.
She is suspending. Somebody else says exactly, Mr. Bermuda, PJP should be the one giving y'all a headache. You heard it from the Home Secretary herself. The reason why St. Lucia and Nicaragua have been slapped with a visa requirement is because their visa-free entry has created a back door into this country. And as I said earlier, Great Britain is our mother country. We born St. Lucians, we don't need a back door to enter our mother's house. But our friends do. But our illegitimate children do. So on and so forth. Somebody says here, that's the big stick. We were warned. we were told, do not continue with the CIP in its current fashion. Fix it before it becomes too late. But we didn't want to know, and we did not want to hear. Well, like the old adage says, lakatan katan, hot pakatan, well, we need to hear. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. This is a sad, sorry state of affairs. And as usual, the SLP hacks will come out and talk a whole bunch of foolishness. Not because they know they are saying the right thing, you know. And not because they believe. We have a caller on the line. Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, a little bit nasal, but I'm all right. The air outside is just so dirty. Angie. Hello to everybody listening. Angie said Lucians were warned.
Yeah, that they will.
Angie said, yes, over and over and over and over and over again, St. Lucians were warned. They said all kinds. The SLP came out and made all statements in the world that what was being said was not true, that we weren't bad for the country. That is why they have answered with a letter speaking of asylum. The Homeland did not speak, Home Office, did not speak of any asylum. She said that it was to prevent people from entering, citizens from entering, or nationals, she said, I think that's what she used, from entering through back door. Now, have St. Lucian people living in St. Lucia ever entered the UK through back door?
I don't know. I don't see why we need a back door. This is our home country. This is our mother country. You don't enter your mother's home with a back door.
We've
You walk into
never
the
had to enter the UK through back door. We came to the UK through front door on a plane, walking through the airports, etc., being who we are with our real names, our true identities,
and
our passports.
Caller, now that you say that, do you know what I remember? Do you remember it was said during the investigation with Martinez that there were instances where people's identity were changed in order to facilitate them having CIP passports? They were issued.
That's correct.
That they were issued
that is so they with a new passport with a new name.
They were issued with St. Lucian birth certificates.
Well, not birth certificates, but deeds of change of names. But on their passport has a brand new name, not associated to Lee Chan at all, but maybe Lou St. Clair. Do you understand?
Yep.
Something as far away from the name as possible. And these people are holding those passports, walking around with brand new identities. So when we were being warned and we were being told this, we were not listening. And Martinez just talking, and that one just talking, and Ashas made this. And Spider that, and everybody was just so
They're jealous. I'm still waiting to be jealous, you know. I am still waiting to be
now jealous. We imagine we have not felt we've not received the goodies from the sales of the CIP passports, all that monies that has gone missing in action. And now all the true citizens of St. Lucia are now put in a basket and must
You said the
go for a
monies.
visa
You said the monies.
prior to
Hold on.
entering
You said
the
the
country.
monies. You said the monies, caller. But have we seen any of those CIP investments bearing fruit? Where are the jobs?
Which
Where are
CIP
the Corvettes?
investments, Angie?
But that's what they told us. We were told that when we will start seeing community centers, people help me, bus shelters, what else? Corvettes, roads, hotels, we would be jealous. Isn't that what you heard? Isn't that what you were told?
You're not listening. What we see is no water in the pipes. What we see are dingy roads that are breaking up altogether, roads that are not finishing at all. What we see is now we are restricted. We have a lot of restriction on our travel, something that we were free to do as and when we could jump on a plane and go to the UK, where we have family, that we visit, where we have aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers. Now we have to apply for a visa to go to England, all because, and I'm saying as it is, this current government sold passports to Iranians, to Russians, to Chinese, to Iraqis.
You remember what?
Hold
on. Do you remember what the Minister of Investment said when the UN and the US and everyone else said that Belarusians and all these other people will not, they're putting sanctions on these countries? Do you remember what he said? He said, and I quote, "They cannot tell us who to sell our passports to." When the IMF asked for information for those CIP individuals, what did the Minister of Investment say? He said, we are not going to give our people's personal information. You remember that?
That's right. When we ask who these people were, he did not share the information with us. He's the only one in St. Lucia and that CIP office and a bunch of goons sitting at SLP. They are the only ones who know the identities of these people. Well, people like Martinez, people like what's his name? The other Rejo. Kenneth Rejo.
Right.
Yes. These people know. Do you understand? They know the quantity of passports that have been sold and to which nations, people from which nations or countries these passports were sold to. Now, we St. Lucians who could have jumped on first of all, we had to go and get clearance before we went to the UK. It started like that. Oh, that everybody, they did that to everybody. Oh, they had all the excuses in the book. All countries, da. Well, let me remind Philip J. Pierre, St. Lucia is not strategically located in Europe. St. Lucia is located in the Caribbean. And so because your government has sold passports to the wrong people, now the sanctions have come down upon us, and it's the citizens of this country that are paying the price for what you and your Ernest and your Citizen by Investment Office and whoever else who sold passports to the wrong people, like hot bread and butter was being sold. And up to a day like today, we do not know where the monies or how much monies have been made from those passport sales or who those passports are being sold to. We're not benefiting. Instead, we are being squeezed. Now we are being terrorized. Now, we the ones who are the unfortunate ones, we paying the price for something we the citizens of St. Lucia did not do.
That's right.
A handful of men and women did this. It was not us. But England is not going to hear that right now. We can beg, we can plead, we can bend over, we can do whatever we want. England has not made up their minds. There's a war going on, there's whatever. And it was coming any which way, whether there was a war or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We were told that this was going to happen. But SFP told us, no way, Shasney alone not saying that.
Mm-hmm. Actually, according to let me take a page from my nephew here. Actually, we were called enemy of the state. We were told that Shasney teamed up with foreign entities to hurt the country. Say it right. To hurt the country.
Let me make it clear. No. Let me make it clear. Shasney did not team up with any foreign entities to hurt St. Lucia. The only people who have hurt St. Lucia in that we cannot travel now to Europe, to the UK, United Kingdom, the countries that make up the UK, England, Scotland,
Ireland, Wales and Ireland.
We can't travel to these countries. We can't travel to the US because my friend SLPs went and sold our passports to these nationals of countries that America asked us not to sell passports to.
Not just America.
We the citizens have not reaped the benefits of the monies that were collected. A passport wasn't $150, people. A passport was $150. A passport was $250. A passport was 250,000 US dollars.
Remind them for me, please. Remind them.
A passport was $250,000. $150,000. Some families had 4. Some families had 6. Some families had God knows how much. A passport was not sold at $250. It was sold at $250,000. One passport, solutions. Listen, one passport.
Hold on.
Money.
Hold on. You're missing something. Hold on. You know I like to give all of the facts. Do you recall that St. Lucians, born St. Lucians, were told that there is a passport shortage and the little that they have were being saved for CIP? You remember?
Well, they didn't tell us they were saving for CIP, and they just said there was a passport shortage. But I've learned that there was no passport shortage, that passports were being issued outside of this country for CIP applicants, and we the St. Lucian people were not receiving our passports. We were waiting for over 6 months to receive a passport.
Okay.
That's what was going on here. We had passports, but the passports were being issued to the CIP applicants. And St. Lucians, you're all going to wake up, because everybody's bum in trouble right now. All of us citizens are in trouble right now. The price of fuel that Philip JP has kept up is going to go higher now that there's a war. And he had no reason to keep it at $17, $16. The price of food, if we can even get imported rice and stuff like that, because we are in trouble. We are in trouble with an Iraq war that's going on, and we were told not to do certain things. If we had listened, and like I said, follow the yellow brick road, we would be in the sunshine having our lunches and having fun right now. But you know what we did? We turned to the red dragon, to the demon. And now this is what the demon is giving us. Yes, I'm saying it. That red demon has started to show us what they have done. Not started, they were showing us already, but we were too blind and we sold our souls. We sold our votes. We were convinced that the yellow brick road was the wrong place to walk. We preferred to go down in the dungeons of hell, where it's red with burning heat and fire. We preferred to visit that than to take the road where you get sunshine and food and travel and shelter and clothing and water in your pipes and electricity and lower cost in fuel and gas, cooking gas. We didn't want that. We went and we drowned. We threw ourselves in the dungeon, the burning of red, the lake of burning red fire. That is where St. Lucians took this country.
By the way, caller.
And today,
Let me just
yes,
let
yes,
me
Angie.
let me ask you a question. Did you hear Philip J. Pierre's remarks on his gas policy? I think you need to listen to it. Because Philip
As
J.
a matter
Pierre
of fact,
said,
I have not listened to his gas policy. I have not listened to Philip J.
he
for a
said,
little while.
he said, and
I'm
I
trying
quote,
not to make myself angry.
I know, and I am risking it because I really think this you need to hear this. So he said that people were short-sightedness led to him being vilified when he oh my god, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Hold on. He said short-sightedness led to him being vilified for his gas policy, but now that the war is here, people are going to see that his policy was the right one. Can you imagine?
You strangled us for years, for 4-5 years. You strangled St. Lucians when we would have gotten a break to be able to live our lives and buy and be able to afford food, etc. You strangled us and telling us about your policy. Your policy was just to put monies in whatever purse that you've been pushing it, Philip J. Pierre, because we don't even know where the money is going, the high taxes that you've charged us. And now that there's a war, you will not be vilified, but life is going to get worse for St. Lucians because now the war is going to bring an extra inflation on the backs of St. Lucians because everything in the world is going to get more expensive. Yet again, the first set of expensive was Philip J. Pierre's doing. This expensive now, where things are going to inflate, is going to be caused because of the war in Iraq. So he's not going to be vilified. There's no excusing what Philip J. Pierre has done and excusing his policies. His policies brought hardship on the people of St. Lucia for the last 4-5 years. And now, guess what?
It's gonna get
Guess
worse.
what, St. Lucians?
It's gonna
Now
get worse.
tighten your belts.
You remember that song in the 80s? They didn't want to know. They didn't want to hear. Well, now,
You know what?
back then it said, we'll feel.
Who doesn't hear does feel.
Back then it said, now they're shouting out, Lucians, watch your bread. But I fear that we won't have any bread to watch soon.
No, because there'll be no wheat.
Thank you for that, caller.
There'll be no wheat.
Thank you very much for your contribution, caller.
Solutions, you better start standing up and start shining your boots so that we can start marching. You better start doing it because there's something coming your way that's even worse than what we're receiving right now. Thanks to Philip J. Pierre and his administration. Thank you, Angie. Thanks.
You're welcome. Now, somebody sent me a song here they think that I should play. And it says, St. Lucia, where we are happy. I don't know if we have. Are we happy in St. Lucia? Are we happy? Let me see what this song is saying. Guys, bear with me for a few minutes. Let's hear what this song is saying. Oh, hold on.
This lovely Helen of the West, you say is blessed with endless happiness. Yet you shout and you claim all that we have content. And those who don't, it's we own laziness. Tell me, do I have my context wrong? Is my context super gone? Somebody tell me please. Cause really and truly, this happiness to me and what it's supposed to be. It's a miracle you're looking for daily. Well, this happiness is mere complacency. It's this solution where we are happy. Tell you, plus you bring and plus you tell. Looks forward to feeling this solution where we are happy. Foreigners working without permit, but who protest suffering arrest in solution where we are happy.
I don't think we want to hear that song right now because I don't think many St. Lucians are very happy. But it is what it is. Let's turn our attention to the Facebook platform. Let me hear what the persons on there are saying. And they don't seem very happy. Let's see. Somebody says, I still want the money. Ernie said that's with the investors. Are we going to get it? Somebody's calling. Good afternoon, caller. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Angie. I'm really clearly.
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. This is my first time calling your show,
Wonderful.
and
Welcome.
I've been listening, and it's just, what I don't want to say it's the last nail on the coffin because a lot worse can happen, especially looking at the geopolitical situation around the world these days. But it's really a sad day for our people in St. Lucia.
That is true.
Our passports, honestly, is the most important thing that we have. That is our sovereignty, and for it to be being killed piece by piece, because of bad decisions, it's
Yeah.
really a sad for our people. The whole reason why CIP was lucrative was because of our visa-free access to many of those countries. And England being that main country, it's really sad. When they took it away from Dominica, I kind of felt a kind of way and said, how is this happening? Why is CARICOM not saying anything? What is going on in Dominica that England, just like St. Lucia, the mother country, would have stripped them from the visa-free access, and look today, this is happening here. But what do we have in common? It is the CIP program. Dominica's population is almost that of Castries.
Wow.
That is the population of Dominica. So you cannot tell me that, so many Dominicans are living in drones going to the United Kingdom, that England had to do that. Dominica does not even have an international airport. They're now building an international airport.
Exactly.
So all of these things are just telling you it's harder for people to leave Dominica and go to England. It had to be something more brave that England was just not satisfied with. And today, they're not satisfied with the same situation with us here in St. Lucia. I mean, what has changed in St. Lucia so much? We've not had a war. We've not had so much people leaving and running to England. People are leaving and fix for England. Why is this happening? again, you had a caller who spoke about the situation in Iraq and Iran, and if so many passports are out there, citizens, of course, they don't live in St. Lucia. A lot of them don't live in St. Lucia, but they do hold our passports and they have the ability to come to St. Lucia and have the ability to travel using our passports. So if England is realizing, oh, the world is catching on fire, and these people will try and end up in Europe, will try and end up in our country, let us safeguard our sovereignty. Let's try and safeguard our country before things get bad. I would not blame them. It may not be a situation whereby they right now are facing influx of St. Lucian passports and influx of people with St. Lucian nationality, but they may be safeguarding themselves from what they think is coming. And the
Yep.
fact that our government is not being transparent, the fact that, even in St. Lucia, we don't know what's going on with our passport program, and our government is acting as if, and that's not something today that has been happening from the last thinking government, that they own St. Lucia, and they do not have, they do not owe any St. Lucia any response. You come, the media is coming and asking our questions as a responsible government. You are basically whitewashing and turning them down. Watch how many press briefings Lisa had with the prime minister, and he's just acting. He's just disregarding what she says and making it look like she's lying. And all of those things. That's just really sad that we have to be brought down to the gutters for us, maybe for us St. Lucians to open our eyes and realize that the government of St. Lucia is causing us more harm than they're supposed to help us. And I was always upset when I got this ad about CIP. CIP is that they have this ad that the
I am the
program.
I in CIP. That's what the ad says.
I CIP, yes, that. But what really got me upset was the aspect where they're telling you about it. One ad about the STEP program, where the young man is talking about, oh, this place looks clean and that's nice and that's a good job you're doing. And then the young guy said, no, it's the CIP and it's not only about cleaning but beautification. That is nonsense. That is rubbish. You're taking the burdens of the passport of St. Lucia, our sovereignty, what makes us really St. Lucia. You're taking that and putting that money into cleaning of the roadsides of steps. That is the most that is what we have turned our country into. This is what our passport, our most, how would I say? That is what we have. That is most dear to us. You sell it to go and cut grass by the road. By the next month or so, the grass is right back where it was before. This is what we have turned into in St. Lucia. There is nothing more important that those money could have gone into a well fund, into something that would help benefit our people tomorrow. This is what we have been brought down to by the Labour Party. And the people, the young people, because I'm a young person, I'm 1991, we spoke on your platform. You need to tell me the young people, you understand? We were fooled by this government giving us rum chicken contract and massive vouchers.
Hmm.
This is how we sold out our country. Come on, St. Lucia. We sold out St. Lucia. And yes, maybe I would say that people did not sell themselves enough that people will actually gravitate towards them. But we sold out St. Lucia young people, people under 30, people 35 years and under. We all sold out St. Lucia. And today we are facing the ramification of that deal, of that sellout. For step, for massive vouchers, and today we cannot go to England.
Hmm.
So the next question is, where will the English embassy be? Obviously, I get in Barbados, so we have to take a flight, pay over $1,000 sometimes in some cities to go to Barbados.
Actually, no. Actually, the British High Commission is right here in St. Lucia.
But do they issue would they issue visas? Because I know Barbados has an embassy.
The embassy in Barbados is the American embassy. I don't know.
No, England has an embassy in Barbados as well.
Okay, well,
Because
I
my
wasn't aware of that.
was a citizen of England, and when he had to renew his British passport, he had to go to Barbados. So we don't even know what our situation there. You know,
Well,
if the commission in St. Lucia can issue visas, that's still a plus for us, at least they're there. But then what if we have to go to Barbados and face that same situation like we're doing when we have to go to the United States? All
well,
of these things make it so much more expensive for
well,
us to
caller,
travel.
like you said, our country, we. I like the fact that you said we young people sold out St. Lucia because that is exactly what took place.
And you're not even hearing anything from them saying, okay, this is the way forward to gaining back your free access. You're not even hearing that. They're not even opening that door. It's not even a situation like whereby they're telling us, that's a period. That's like it's permanent. It's permanent. And to those that will tell you, oh, well, England, that is nonsense. That can just be the start of it because it sometimes only takes that one block, that one flow for
Yep.
people to look into something and say, you know what, Europe will say, well, if England doing it and England close to us, we may as well have do too.
It's
You
not.
don't want that to
It's not
happen.
even. It's not even that. This is our home country, caller. This is our mother country.
But imagine, as it is right now, Europe was basically giving us more freedom to
Yeah,
travel.
the
To
Schengen
get
visa. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. If England, which is our mother country, is saying you guys are not allowed to come in here without a visa, you can't come in how you want. Could you imagine what the rest of Europe will say?
Because England was part of Europe, the European Union at one point.
At
Recently,
one
they came
point,
out.
but they came out. And
It's out.
caller, it's basically saying your mom doesn't want you in her house. So why should I, as a neighbor, take you in?
You obviously have a problem. There's something going on
There's
there.
a
There's supposed to
problem.
be. September, we were on that gray list. We were on black to green list, and now it looks like we fall off the list all together. We just not on
Now,
the list
now
anymore.
we're not on any list, caller.
Not on the list. We just kicking that.
We are
And
persona non
my
grata. Nobody wants to see us. Nobody wants to know us.
And my whole thing is that they will not say, England is not saying anything about, okay, we will review. There is nothing about review there. That is just permanent.
Well,
It looks like it's permanent. So, St. Lucia, I don't know, but we really need to start opening our eyes. Whatever the Labour Party gave us to drink, and we bathe in it or give us to bathe and we drink it, we need to start opening our eyes and realize that these people have no idea what they're doing and they're not in the interest of St. Lucia. And if I was Prime Minister, that CIP program would have crashed. I would have stopped it.
immediately.
Immediately. There's no, maybe you're fixing it immediately. And I agree with that for saying he was not prostituting his country. Although he was doing that, he was selling islands. But he was not prostituting, giving people his passports. St. Lucia is worth more than that. We are worth more than that. We cannot allow ourselves to go down that way. We're supposed to be improving. We're supposed to be making connections. We're supposed to be protecting our sovereignty and having more visa access, not for that to be happening to us.
Well, caller, think of it this way: the ministers are improving. The people may not be improving, but the ministers are improving. And you said we're supposed to have more visa-free access. Well, the prime minister said as long as he is the prime minister, he will always have a visa. So
He will always have a visa.
that's what he said. He will always be able to enter the U.S. He will always have a U.S. visa.
Well, that's if he always is a minister. That is when that will happen. But when he will not be a minister again, it will be a different story. It will be a different story.
Thank you for that contribution. Have a good afternoon. Well, guys. Oh, the people on the Facebook platform, they are very active. Let's hear what they have to say. Somebody says, I just feel sorry for the innocent St. Lucians that are suffering these restrictions. These ministers involved will now play innocent while their offshore assets are safe. St. Lucians hold their hands and foot to the fire. Calci Mayo. Somebody says, only during COVID, Lucians were using backdoor to and from Martinique. Somebody says, so Angie, you need a visa to come see me now? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I was born before 1983. I can tell you that. That's one time I'm happy to be old. Somebody says, the hens. But how you know his hens, pal? You were there? Somebody says the hens have come home to roost with this unfolding situation, and the results are catastrophic. Well. Another says, Angie, in fact, days after the PM said that we had stopped selling passports to Russians, he said that we will not discriminate against Russians. Somebody's saying the visas were the passports were $250,000. Another says, Angie, in fact, oh no, we read that already. Somebody's saying here, you remember the briefcase, how people had to pay $600 to $700 for a passport? Madame Poyot said that she would have an investigation made and she will come back to us. Up to now, we know nothing about that and we will never know. Another person is saying, be careful, the minister briefcase may take you on for using his title without authorization. Another says, Angie, can you do an interview with Martinez? Would love to hear his take on all the recent developments. Look like you want them to take my license. Another says, I second the motion. It would be great knowing where we are. Well, Martinez doesn't know anything about British visas. His whole thing was American visas. So I don't think this is the right person to ask. Another person is saying, oh, somebody's sending a message here for Teddy Erickson. If you are on the live, I'm not going to read the person's number out loud, but if you are on the live, there you go. Another says, how many flights do we have going to England and how many locals are on those flights daily? I have no idea. Another says, great contribution. For STEP, I can't go to the UK. Y'all, because I hold. Oh, somebody says, great contribution. For STEP, I can't go to the UK. Well, y'all, because I hold a US passport. Stop rubbing it in our face, man. Another says, caller, the mood is dark red. Somebody says, caller, St. Lucia cannot talk because they sold over 45,000 passports. 45,000 times by 2 passports in less than 3 years. And that's what Pierre refuses to tell us. But in due time, we will know everything. Somebody says, is the I in CIP intelligent, important, or imbecile? I guess this person is asking for a friend. Another is saying, hence why the slogan for the poor people is protect the victory, meaning protect the ministers from being jailed. Somebody is asking me, Angie, is your case with Hilaire tomorrow? Yes it is. Another says, Angie, how comes Dominica's prime minister gave his people the necessary information about the third world refugees coming to his island, 7 persons quarterly? Isn't the same memorandum Skerrit signed just as St. Lucia and the rest of the OECS? PJP is hiding something. I smell a dead rat, Angie. Well, I don't know what PJP is hiding. I'm just happy I'm not helping him hide whatever it is, because you guys know as soon as the information becomes available and I can bring the information to you, I will do so. So somebody is sending me a clip that was placed on the Prime Minister's Facebook page. But of course, we don't need the information coming from the Prime Minister, because we have the words of the Home Secretary herself. And she said, and I quote, "The Labour Party in the UK may be the party of the people, but they are not afraid to wield the big stick." And just because we have some more people jumping on the live and more people on the frequency, let me just play these words from, that is to clear up any information from this individual sending me what the Labour Party wants us to hear. Let's listen again, once again, to the Home Secretary of the UK, the source of this information, to get our information right from the source. Here is Miss Shabana Mahmood.
Whom are being removed from this country at a rate far higher than the one that we inherited. The Labour Party has always been internationalist, but while we speak softly, we are not fearful of carrying a big stick. Since I became Home Secretary, I've shown my willingness to do so. I threatened visa sanctions on 3 countries who are refusing to take their citizens back, all of whom, I'm happy to say, are now playing by the international rules. Today, I can announce that I'm suspending certain visa routes for a further 4 countries: Afghanistan, Cameroon, Myanmar and Sudan, where abuse has been unacceptably high. I will also impose visit visas on Nicaragua and St. Lucia, as their visa-free entry has created a backdoor into this country.
You heard it yourselves. Their visa-free entry has created a back door into this country. So the individual who's trying to send us this clip that the Prime Minister put on his page that gives us part of the information, thank you, but no thanks. We have our information straight from the Home Secretary. And unlike the UK, unlike the SLP, the Home Secretary does not mince words. She doesn't give half-truths, and she doesn't give misinformation. You're listening once again to Fire 107.7 FM. This is Hard Talk, and we are discussing the issues that matter. As of today, or more importantly, if I were to quote a 5-star general, as of today, 11 a.m., St. Lucians are restricted from entering the United Kingdom without a visa. They cannot even pass through the United Kingdom on their way to somewhere else without a visitor's visa. That ETA that we were all up in arms about, as of today, 11 a.m., it is no longer valid. But there is a transition period until April 2026. I think the 26th of April. I may not be I think it's the 26th of April. Persons who booked their flights before today, persons who were issued their ETAs before today, will still be allowed to travel. But those of you going to buy your tickets today, crapo, and I don't mean El Crapo, crapo has smoked your pipe. Find yourselves, if you're about to buy a ticket to the UK, you need to find a visa. I don't know where you're going to get the information, but if I were you, I would visit the British High Commission ASAP, because St. Lucia's home country has now said, pa vin bo kay mwen unless ou kouye mwen avant. I'm laughing, but this is not a laughing matter, guys. This is this is insulting. This is upsetting. This is ridiculous. Could you imagine? After all of the warnings, after the alarm was sounded in every corner of the country, here, there, and everywhere, after all of the information that was provided, not just by the leader of the opposition, not just by the ministers of the opposition or the hierarchy of the UWP, by news clippings, by international persons close to the situation. Everybody else was a liar. Martinez was deemed a fraudster. Rejok was called a liar. Everyone was called enemy of the state. Somebody saying they will blame Compton for making St. Lucia independent. They didn't want independence, by the way. Now the Prime Minister will come out and say that George Charles was vindicated. And I'm expecting all of these, you know. George Charles was vindicated for saying that we were not ready for independence 40 years ago. Somebody says, Angie, very funny. Call before you come home. Yes, call. And send a letter. Ask for permission. Because that's what our mother country is saying to us. Ou pa just vin bokay mwen just kon sa. Ou ni pou di mwen sa in advance. That is what our mother country is saying to us. Every time our leaders were told, fix the CIP, instead of fixing it, they removed more and more restrictions. When the IMF said we need to know who these individuals are, Hile said we're not giving out information, people's personal information. When the people of St. Lucia said we need to know who these people are, Hile said, mind your business. When we said the CIP reports need to be tabled in Parliament, Hile said, you cannot tell me what to do. Somebody else here is weighing in. Person says, I know that was coming. I did not say anything because I know they would say I am talking nonsense, so I kept everything to myself, and there is more to come. Every time the alarm was sounded, everybody else was bad and the SLP were good. In the immortal words of the Prime Minister, the chickens have now come home to roost. St. Lucians need visas to go home to mama. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. This is my time, guys. I gotta go. I gotta run. Got things to do. People to see and places to go. Have a wonderful day, St. Lucia. And by the way, I hope the other OECS countries with CIP are watching. St. Vincent, you are on the verge of bringing in a CIP, but I want to give you some advice. Bab kama wadu hapwi di fe. Fe asiwo uze sao. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, I have to say I might not be here tomorrow, as I have a preordained court appearance. And although it's in the morning, if you guys don't see me, I want to make sure that you know why I am not here. But as long as I can make it, I will be back here on Fire FM with more hard talk so we can discuss the issues that matter. So have a wonderful day, St. Lucia, here in the diaspora. And thank you for joining us.